Hi, welcome back. I'm Shai,
I'm Kyle.
and this is Animated Chaos. Today we're going to talk about.
Harry Potter. We're just going to be kind of covering the series as a collective whole. Uh, it's really just a lot of theories and stuff for the most part. It's going to be just kind of our viewpoints, our thoughts on it. Just really talking about maybe some of the individual movies, some a little more in depth than others. And I'm just going to geek out a little bit about it because we do enjoy the series. We really do. I've never actually read the books myself. I know you read a couple of them when you were younger. Uh, my whole experience was with the movies, and that was honestly just a few years ago, really, because I didn't really watch them much as a kid. But an example of some of the stuff we're going to be talking about is that for this first movie, the very first one, it felt to me more like it was better served as a series rather than as a movie, because it just felt like it would have been better served as like a season one that lasted about 24 to 26 episodes. With the way it was cut together, it definitely felt more like, okay, so here's an establishment part here, here's another establishing part here, because with the first movie, they had to establish the world in addition to tell this story, but they had to cut it together so much and skip out on an amount of information so much throughout that really you have, here's one plot point going on, here's another plot point going on, and then we're skipping over to this next one, and then over here to this one. And while there was maybe only really 2 or 3 overarching plot points going on throughout the entirety of the movie, it cut back and forth between so many of them so frequently that between having to world build and establish everything plus build some level of character dynamic, that there was just a lot going on in one roughly 3-hour long movie.
I think it was done that to me, because you're saying that it should have been broken down series. Maybe because I watched them like right when they were coming out and everything. I didn't feel that way. I felt it could have been done that way because everything is thrown at us in a certain way. Everything's kind of jumbled up in a certain way because we're seeing it through the eyes of the character, which is Harry Potter. So we're experiencing it the same way he's experiencing it, which is there's a lot of information that looks like it's being thrown at us, and that
that's true. He didn't know anything about the Wizarding world at the time.
I think it was done that way intentionally, purely because one, he doesn't know nothing about that world. We're just learning about it ourselves, so we're getting thrown in to this right along with them. So I think it was done intentionally. If that was what they did, regardless of what it is, it's hard to adapt a book. It's hard to do book adaptations to movie adaptations or series adaptations. I've seen one show where they've tried twice and they just somehow continue to drop the ball, like Immortal Instruments. When they first came out, I read every single book. And then they said they were going to do a series. I think it was on like ABC or something. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. And I watched it and I was like, what am I looking at? Because this made no sense to me. But before the series, they did a movie. They were going to do the movies. And I was like, okay, great. And then I watched the first movie and I was just like, I know it's been a minute since I read the book, the very first book. But now that this makes sense to me, I could see you're putting too much stuff in the first movie instead of just sticking to the book. Stick to the first book. You have all the material you need. You don't need to be throwing everything else in there. Stick to the first book, finish it, then go to the next one. They jumbled up so much and dropped the ball so badly on that first one that they couldn't even do a second one. They basically, it was like one of those, like, we don't talk about it. It's like the Avatar first one. We don't talk about it, okay? It doesn't exist. So I think that's kind of the same thing with the Harry Potter thing, is like, we're learning as we go, and those books are thick. So there's so much information that you can't put in there, and some of it might be significant, but some of it may be enough that you don't have to put it in there. So for what they did, I think they adapted pretty well. Now, granted, yes, we have some people. Well. I feel like there's some people that's just like, oh, well, you didn't do the characters better. Like, apparently Hermione was supposed to be black, and this character's supposed to have this. It is what it is, and a lot of us who's not so deep into it didn't even notice until people brought it up.
True. Neither of us Potterheads. Like, we enjoy the series, but we are not, like, engulfed in the world. No. We don't know everything of it from top to bottom and inside and out.
Their favorite food, what they're allergic to, and I don't know all of that, and I don't really, to be honest, no offense to anyone, I don't really care to know about it. It's fascinating if that's your thing. I do like taking the little Harry Potter quiz. What house are you? I'm clearly Slytherin. I've done the houses. That's my favorite house. I don't care.
I think I got thrown into Hufflepuff.
Really?
I
No.
think. Or
I was-
no, it was Ravenclaw. It was Ravenclaw.
The studious one. Yeah, no,
Sounds
I
not right for me, honestly.
I got Slytherin, and honestly,
I can see it.
here's here's my take on it in general. Is even as a kid, I always kind of saw the characters that were considered bad as why are they bad? Like, why is this person or why is this house deemed the way they are? Like, you know, like Disney. We can get into that another time, but I have always sided with the villains. Sorry, not sorry.
The villains are more fun.
Yo, hence Slytherin. Hello.
They're better written.
Yeah, but
Like, they're the most fleshed out, well written, executed characters. And then you've got all these protagonists that are just milquetoast on butter.
yeah, like
Nothing.
So for me, with the Slytherin house, I liked the Slytherin house. Yeah, yes. Here's my thing where we're about to get detour just a little bit, but not really.
Yeah, we'll detour all the time.
It's still the same premise. They always said if you go to Slytherin, then you're automatically bad. You're automatically just dog doo doo. Like you're just automatically just a horrible individual. That's not true. You had people like Theodore Knott that was in the house. He was studious. He could have been in Ravenclaw, but he was in Slytherin. Okay, you had people like the Zambini, Bless Zambini. He was in Slytherin, but he was kind of just like, hey, I'm just here. Like I'm ambitious, which is what gets you into Slytherin. Your ambition is one of the characteristics of it. But like I said, Theodore Knott.
The characteristic backgrounds to all of them. And really, in all due fairness, with 4 separate houses, it's really hard to actually be able to
really pinpoint somebody down where you're supposed to be at your heart and your core.
Well,
because again,
you can't really just sit here and just go ham on 4 different houses and really just flesh everything out. So focusing on one house for the main part, and then the second house for kind of the backup part. Makes sense, but it does mean that Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff really didn't get that much of a flesh out. The only time that those houses got to shine is when they had Cedric Diggory, which died. Oh yeah,
Cedric Diggory, he died, but that's the only time you really got there are other houses besides Gryffindor and Slytherin. Mm-hmm. You know, they're not just NPCs in the back. And then Luna Lovegood, was she Ravenclaw? I think Luna was Ravenclaw. So those are the only 2 characters that we really.
And then was almost a nothing character, at least in the movie.
Until the end.
She didn't play much of a role in the movies, at the very least. I don't know if she played more of a role in the books. Again, I haven't read the books. So I don't know.
When they introduced her at a time where she would be a little bit more relevant to the story, and to at least you wouldn't think she was important until you look back and you're like, oh yeah, actually no, that is important, because the time when Harry started kind of basically people were kind of ostracizing him a little bit, she was the only person, one of them, one of the people
ostracized too for being a weirdo.
Well, because she was a weirdo, right? And let's call it what it is. He thought she was weird too until he needed her. Let's just call it like it is. Harry wasn't a great person either.
No, I thought honestly that they were trying to set it up for Luna to be a love interest.
I'm glad they didn't. She needed to be with Neville. I'm so glad that they.
Too weird, I think, for Harry.
Harry's, to me, in my opinion, Harry was too stuck on trying to fit in. That's just my opinion on. He was too busy trying to fit in, because one, this is the first time he actually was fitting in. He didn't fit in when he was in Muggle school, because one, his cousin made sure everyone tormented the hell out of him.
His cousin and his aunt and uncle.
Yeah, but at school, his cousin did it. They had, was it Hunting Harry or some type of game where they just found him and beat him up all the time. So he didn't really have any friends or any connections. He couldn't with his cousin going to the same school as him. So this was the one time that he actually had, people that care about him. And he, I will say it, he did let it go to his head at some points. I don't care. He's humble at some points, but he let it go to his head a little bit.
It's hard not to.
Yeah.
It's hard not to. You
again,
can say it all you want. Don't let these things bother you, but it's going to bother you. Words hurt, actions hurt, and when it's literally your entire life is, I'm shoved in a closet and
under the stairs, and then only time I got a bedroom, I still had bolts on the other side of it, so I couldn't even leave. And then when the one time that I broke out, you put bars on the window when I came back, which again, Dumbledore, I don't know, the villain. Shout out to the actor, incredible. I'm talking about the character, okay? Villain. He was a villain to me. You sly snake, you. That's again goes back to being Gryffindors and Slytherins and all the characteristics that get you in those houses. Case in point, first of all, Harry.
Bravery can lead to stupidity.
Yeah, he could have gone to, because he was ambitious. He could have gone to Slytherin, but he was like, oh please, don't put me in Slytherin because Slytherin's bad. If Ron had kept his mouth closed, I don't think Harry would have known about that, and he would have went to Slytherin.
Single thought.
He wouldn't have thought about it. But since that was his quote first, well, it was his first friend. There's no quoting about it. His first true friend. He wanted to be with him. He wanted to stay with him because he knew, I think subconsciously, if I go to this house that my new friend here hates, he's not going to be my friend anymore.
Yeah.
And to be honest, Draco Malfoy didn't make it no better.
Nope.
He didn't make it better when
Draco Malfoy open mouth insert foot
right away.
Every waking second.
But here's the thing, though. When Harry went robe shopping, he ran into him first. Mm-hmm. So he met Draco Malfoy beforehand. So he kind of knew, he was like, oh, you're a Richie snobby person. But I think the nail in the coffin was when he saw that he didn't get along with
his quote-unquote friend.
Best friend, which was Ron. Because they butted heads. Because they didn't get along with each other. The Weasleys and the Malfoys did not get along. So that was just... I'm seeing my dad do this because my dad doesn't like you because you're poor. So therefore, I don't like you because you're poor, right? And so that's what that stemmed from. Mm-hmm. And so...
Because children will pick up
what their parents do.
Whatever their parents do.
And as you saw it later on, I think it was number 6, is when he was kind of like, oh, I'm in deep water.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. It's too late, though.
And it aged him real bad.
Yeah.
Real fast, at least in those movies. But then again, that lighting really... As it got darker, it just did not work.
I think that was kind of the point, to kind of show how stressed they were, to make them like they aged. Probably. But you ran into that. I feel like had Harry not been influenced by by Ron specifically, because he saw Hermione too, but she was looking for a frog, so that was kind of like a high-by situation there for a second.
And Hermione was at least level-headed, so she probably would have more.
She got on my nerves
a little. She probably would have more so at least been like, okay, so you're not a bad person just because you're in Slytherin. Will we hang out? I don't know. If we're in different classes, maybe not. I don't know.
But again, it wouldn't have been up to her. It would have been up to the ones that are in Slytherin. Because again, they had that huge purity, hierarchy. Thank you.
Although Harry's not pureblood. He's actually half-blood because his mom was Muggleborn.
She was a Muggleborn, but she was a witch. So therefore, she was a witch. And her dad was a witch. So therefore, he's not half-blood.
No, he's officially half-blood.
But if you look at it that way, if you think about it that way, if you look at it that way, they would say that he wasn't. But yes, he is. He is, but he wasn't. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with Snape. That's why he's called the Half-Blood Prince, because he was half-blooded too.
That phrasing didn't even come up until like 2/3 of the way through that movie. And I'm just
it's like you named it after this, and we didn't really get much of it. Yeah. Like the premise of it, we didn't really get it. At least with the Chamber of Secrets, the whole show from start to finish, we were talking about the damn Chamber of Secrets.
Yes, and that's the thing about it. After the first movie, where it was let's set up all the lore and stuff, which they had to do, come the second movie, it was clearly more focused because it was literally, this is the portion of this school that we're focusing on, the Chamber of Secrets. After that, it was the Prisoner of Azkaban. So everything focused on thereafter focused on that.
Serious, so yeah.
It was more focused from the second movie on, whereas the first movie just felt unfocused only because
it was
having to do a lot in a short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, they could have did what they did with the last one. The last book, I think they split up in two movies. Yeah, they split it up in 2 movies because that book was like this thick. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you had to split that. You had to split it. But the book was thick, and then you had to split it to make it 2. Now some books they've done that and split it up in 2, and it was unnecessary. In my opinion, it was unnecessary.
Yeah,
but
you can really mess it up if you split something up and it doesn't need to be split up.
Yeah, but Harry Potter, it needed to be split. It was already very, very, very long.
Wasn't weren't the books on average like 500 pages or something, or more than that? No,
I don't know.
No, I think they were on average like over 1,000 in some cases.
I don't know. The last book was the thickest one out of all of them to me. That was 2 books in one. So I don't really remember. I gotta find it. But yeah, that last book is pretty thick. So I can understand them splitting that up in 2 because that would have been a long, long, long movie if they did that. But there was just so much that they could have done. And here's a part that's going to go off the rail. And whoever sees this and you heard about it, I'm so sorry. Let's discuss it. Here's the thing. Here's my take on the Weasleys. Okay? Here's my take on the Weasleys. They were one of, quote unquote, the poorest family, right? The poorest family. One of the poorest families.
And the least successful with magic all around.
And the least successful with magic, but you get hit with that bat bogey is another thing coming. Molly Weasley, she was a lot of things, but she held her own, especially when she fought Bellatrix. Like, come on. Come on. Like, they had their own.
Bellatrix had just killed.
She killed her kid. Yeah. So a lot of rage and anger was built into that spell.
Yes.
So
she just demolished her within seconds thereafter.
Yeah. So, and again, was it necessary? I don't think it was. They could have lived. They could have lived. You already scarred up the one kid's face. Was it Charlie? I think it was Charlie. You already scarred, or was it Bill? One of them. Which one's Charlie? I think is with the dragons. Bill, I think, worked for the bank, so it was Bill. You already scarred up his face, so now you technically have werewolf tendencies. I don't think he morphed all the way, but he just had the tendencies and like the anger when the full moon's out.
Oh.
He already did that to him. Okay, Percy. He literally said deuces to the family for the longest time before he actually came back and was trying to like reconcile. And the time that he finally gets around to reconcile the family, you kill off one of his little brother, and then the one twin, his ear got cut off. So okay, right then we already can tell the difference because one of you have an ear, one of you don't. One of you have both ears, one of you don't.
And now your twin's dead.
And now you killed the twin. I don't remember if it was Fred or George. I don't remember which one it is. If you watch this, let us know in the comments.
If I remember correctly, Fred lived, George died.
Yeah, but then you kill him. What?
Yeah.
And then Ramus and what was her name? The girl that could change her appearance.
Oh yes, her.
Nymphadora.
Nymphadora.
Yeah, you killed them. Like what? Like everyone was just dying in the last book. You just said just murk everybody in that last book, and then in the show, like. I already had to read it, and then I had to watch it in theater of that happening again. Like, come on, did they even ever introduce Teddy? Like, we knew they had a son, but I don't know if I ever remember seeing him in the show.
I don't think character introductions were done all that great in the movie across the board.
Yeah, like I know he had Teddy, but I just don't know if we actually ever got to see them because, again, they had just really officially got together because she'd been chasing after him for a little bit. But he was like, I'm way older than you, girl.
I don't even remember Nymphadora as a character appearing in any of the previous movies prior to like maybe the 6th one.
I think that's when she popped up. It was like the 5th or 6th one, because that's when stuff was getting really real, and they were going after the Horcruxes and stuff like that, and that you started kind of learning about them a little bit more.
Yeah, but if there was almost no focus on it, then I sure don't remember it.
Yeah, like it was very short. It was very short with her, but it's like you had all these characters that you decided to just kill off. Like you're gone, and for what? Like we were together since day one, and we get to here and we die, which we all knew death was going to happen. It had to happen at some point.
Oh yeah, especially when you've got literally killing spells.
Yeah. So, and this was the big battle. So death was going to have to occur. We knew that, but it's just kind of like you couldn't have just let it be NPC characters. You couldn't have just let them die. Maybe Warner, like we already lost Cedric, and we had just started to get to know him, and you killed him in the same show, in the same movie. We were just getting to know him, and you killed him off.
And then they killed Sirius off the very next movie after he was introduced, wasn't he? Or was that 2 movies after?
I don't remember.
I think he got killed off literally the very next movie. And he was Harry's godfather. So I mean,
yeah. But here's my thing. This is where teenage comes into play, and the loopholes that I saw come into play would be Hermione. You're the smart one. You're the quote unquote smartest one here. You didn't think to tell Dum Dum. How about you hold off a second? Like throw him a spell, bind his body. I'm sure you got one that can tie him up for a second and be like, let's think about this logically and rationally. You've already been having these weird dreams, prolific dreams, or memories, or visions, whatever they are. Why? Let's really think about this. Yes, great.
She already had the ability to do time spells. The entire 3rd movie, she had that little thing that allowed.
That's illegal. That was illegal. She wasn't supposed to be doing that.
Well, she did it through.
Oh, she did it a lot.
She did it a whole lot.
Oh yeah, no, she did it a lot. She shouldn't have been doing it, but she did it a lot.
And Dumbledore was like, you know what? You're fine.
I think she had permission though.
She did get permission. It was literally gifted to her by a teacher in her first year.
It was wasn't it? What was the headmistress for Gryffindor?
I don't know.
Minerva. I think Minerva, the teacher, gave it to her so she could do all the extra multiple classes at once. So she had permission for hers to do. So yeah.
Honestly, I think that was one of the best, well done ways to do a time travel thing. because they never really just put too much focus on it to where it hurt your brain.
No, it was done the way it was meant to. It's like you saw it, but you didn't see it. Like you saw something was there, but you was like, no.
Well, it was the whole thing. It kept popping up of, where did she come from when she pops in out of
Yeah, like she was really like, where were you? I've been here this whole time. No, you weren't. And as audience, we're like, no, you weren't. So like they did it really well. And then of course at the end when we find out,
really well done way to do time travel, because time travel in storytelling is damn near impossible to actually do and do well.
Yeah.
You have to really think it through. So it was really a very well executed way to do it, where it's like, here's this trinket that allows you to do some time traveling, but only for certain periods of time, only within a certain
like there were some rules to it, so you couldn't just go too crazy with it. Like there were some rules.
Like I can go jump back 400 years and change.
Yeah, like there was a limit to, I think, how I feel like there was different time turners because you had the mysteries or something, Hall of Mysteries or whatever. I forgot their names, but they're literally just kind of like, think of it like the Secret Service, but for wizards. Like they're the ones that's behind the scenes. You don't see them. They don't exist, but they're there. They had like their own little area. I feel like there was time turners that did different stuff, but that could have been just something I read. But I don't know. There's just so many loopholes in certain things of like, I get it that you're stressed out. Like you've been having all these weird dreams. Your one dream actually came true. You did save Mr. Weasley from the snake bites, but your godfather literally gave you a device that you could pick up and call for him to see if he can pick. And you didn't think to just double check, or hell, even on the way going to rescue him, to have it and be like, hey, where you at? Please pick up something. Or did that happen and I just missed it? Because I swear that didn't happen. I swear he just kind of said, we got to go rescue him. And since he already seen death, he could ride the Thessals.
The only thing I remember, maybe. The only thing I remember is that when he was talking with Sirius, it was like through a fireplace or through a pot of water or something like that. Like,
yeah, but I think for Christmas or birthday, something like that, he gave him like this rock or something that he would be able to communicate with him. Again, he had to be in secret because he was still considered a fugitive.
Maybe that was a book only thing. I don't remember it being in the movie. That doesn't mean anything because my memory is not
even
good.
Still though. If you're talking to him through the flames, hello.
Communication is key.
What was it called? Grimmill Place, whatever his house was. Hello. Throw something in there. See if he answers. If he answers, okay, cool. Go back to bed. Go back to bed. You just dragged all of us, and of course, or at least I think they had to go to get the prophecy anyway. Mm-hmm. Get that and then get the hell out. Like all of the other stuff was just not necessary to me. There was some stuff in loopholes. And then people was like, oh, the trio, the golden trio or whatever with those three. Ron, in my opinion, was not the best of friends.
Oh, he was on it. He started out fine. But then by about roughly around movie 3, when he started becoming a little more irrelevant, because when they did do the time travel thing, he was stuck in bed like with a broken foot or a broken arm or something. It wasn't much use to them at that point. He started to become a little bit more irrelevant, and as a result, started really becoming very jealous and hateful.
Y'all met when y'all what, 11?
11.
11's when you go into the school. You met when you're 11. You know his home conditions because you saved him. Yep. I think the next movie, you had to rescue him from his relative's house through the window. Hence why they put bars on the window so he couldn't do it again. So you knew his living conditions. You knew how his family were to him. And Dumbledore knew that too. But it's due to your mother's love and the blah, 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 blah. That's why you got to stay here. Really? Really?
Really?
I could hide in plain sight. But he would think I'm there and I could be somewhere else. You know that they're abusing me and you're letting me say, this is why I said Dumbledore is a villain. That's why, to bounce back to what I said earlier, this is why I said he was a villain, because he knew Harry's living condition. The boy wasn't quiet about it. And then you had, what was his name, Hagrid, who had to hunt him down because they ran off and left because they were refusing to let the boy go in the very first movie. You knew all of his living conditions and you still kept telling him to go back there because it was safe. They are literally starving me. I am nothing but more than a house elf and possibly abusing me. But it's safer for me to be there because I can't do magic. I'm underage. It's safer for me to be there because of my mother's love and the magic that put over this house, as opposed to me going somewhere else. Because everyone, The whole Wizarding world knows where I live. They just can't get to me. So if they think I'm here, but I'm somewhere else, wouldn't that be safer? Wouldn't that make me safer because everyone thinks I'm here, but I'm not? I'm somewhere else.
Service.
Yeah, like the whole world. That's the crazy thing. Everybody knew where the boy lived at some point. Like at one point, they knew where he lived. They knew, not in like the actual location. They did find out, but like not the exact house. But they knew that he lived in the Muggle world in like a general area. So of course, they didn't find out until like the 6th or 7th book is when stuff got really real, and Harry was like, "Okay, y'all need to go somewhere else because they're gonna come. They possibly gonna come to the house."
It was definitely around the 6th movie where things just took a turn for the darkest.
Yeah, which him and Dudley, they did make up, so that was kind of cool that they matured, which is nice to see character growth. Because again, the Dursleys, you only saw them a little bit in the beginning, and then you never really saw them again.
You definitely do notice that the dad, his uncle, whatever, is like calming down as he gets a little older through these movies. Because
you see how serious it is. It's like, dude, this is not a game. I guess you hate wizards, but you're gonna die. So it's like I like to see that he still didn't care about Harry, and I think at that point Harry was like, I don't give a shit about you either. But I like the fact that
they were on equal grounding.
Yeah, I like the fact that
each other.
Dudley, generally, because they were kids, and again, monkey see, monkey do. You're doing what you see your parents do and your dad do. I like that he eventually, because once he saved his life from the what was that, Soul Eater?
Yeah,
I said Soul Eater. What was they called? Dementor. Soul Eater, same thing. Yeah. So the Dementor, like once he saved his life, he had a new calling in life because he was like, oh shit, this is not okay. So
this is not a game to be playing around.
Yeah. So Dudley had to come to Jesus after that. So they had their moment, which I like to see. I like to see character development in a positive way. But back to what I was saying with Ron, you've been friends since y'all were 11. Mm-hmm. You know how this boy is. You know how Harry is. And anytime, any tiny little lie that popped up, you believed it and you ran with it. Like at first he'd be like, oh no, I'm sticking with you, Harry. But then more and more people in your ear talking, and then you're just like, let me distance myself from you. And now Harry's looking at you like, bro, like what? Well, like, you know that's not me. You know I'm not the Half-Blood Prince or the Prince of Slytherin. You know that's not me. Yes, I can talk to snakes, but so...
That was firmly established that was due to the attack he received.
Yeah, from Voldemort. Like, I had no control over that. I didn't know that that's something considered evil to have that ability to talk to snakes. Right. Me personally, if I could talk to snakes, I wouldn't fear them as much, honestly, because I'd be like, get the fuck on somewhere and I can say it in your language. But
unless they're like, I don't give a fuck what you want, I'm gonna bite you right now.
I have a bullet for you. So which one? My bullet will reach you before you reach me. Pick your poison. But he was just too finicky for me because every time something went wrong, and then when you were hunting for Horcrux, I get it.
The whole Horcrux thing was not done well, at least in the movies. Although I heard that it wasn't done all that well in the books either, because
it was a lot.
There were supposed to be 7 of them, something like that.
I think so.
And they firmly focused on 3 of them.
And the rest of them were just kind of thrown in there at the end.
And they were all just thrown in there at the end with the very final war where 4 or 5 of them were destroyed during the final battle. And then only other 2 or 3 of them were destroyed in other movies.
Yeah, some of them was unintentionally destroyed throughout.
And they didn't even know that they were Horcruxes during the time they were being destroyed.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. You find it's kind of one of those that was that part was cool.
Yeah.
But some of them, at a certain point, they were just focusing on certain ones a little too long. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of bomb rushed the last ones, which they were inside the castle, which was the crown and the cup or something.
I
know the crown. The crown was there because
it was a crown, a cup, an emblem, I think, of some kind.
The emblem is what they found when Dumbledore died because he poisoned himself.
The book,
which was in the second one.
It was in the first one.
First one.
It was in the first one.
First one.
Harry himself.
Which that was the ending.
A locket.
Mm-hmm. A ring.
And a ring.
Dumbledore destroyed the ring, that's why his hand was poisoning, and he was already dying, so he was kind of like, I'm going to go out in a blaze as opposed to just dying of, wilting our way. So he was already dying.
And he had Snape actually agree to be the one to kill him anyway. So it was
because he knew what
agreed upon plan from the get-go.
Because he was like, I know that Draco's mission is to kill me, and I know we don't want him to have that on his consciousness, so you do it. And you just like, really, sir? I mean, I get it, but really, sir? Plus, he had to do it anyway he had to protect Draco anyway because the mom made him do an oath, like an unbreakable vow or something. So it was a lot going on. And so technically him being able to speak Parseltongue is because he had a part of Voldemort's soul in his body.
Yep.
Hence the visions and all the other stuff that he was getting out of him.
But then, of course, it's interesting because if you do just a little more looking into it post the movies, there's also, I think this was all done in the form of a play where it was all officially considered canon by Rowling, where now it's the kids of Harry and Ron and Hermione and Ginny and even Draco. And all of a sudden now, with the focus on those kids, there seems to be like some sort of working together between Draco's kids and Harry's kids and stuff like that. I don't know all the details on that because
it makes sense because at the end, one, he saved his life in the end, but at the very end when they're sending their kids off to school, and one of the sons, I don't remember if it was Albus or I don't remember which one was older, but one of them was I remember one of them, he was getting ready to go to school. And he was so afraid of getting put in the wrong house. And then Harry was basically like, it's okay. No house is evil. So like they were breaking that generational curse of, if you get sit in this house, I disown you and you're no longer my child. So I like the fact that they basically says like no house is evil. Like, so it's
different viewpoints.
Yeah, different viewpoints. That does not necessarily mean that they're evil. So that was a good story. Like it's a way to bring it on home.
It's a good way to fix it.
Yeah, it was a way to bring it on home. Yes. Because the beginning we had, it's bad. It was everything was black and white.
Yeah.
And everything is not black and white. And so it was basically how he was telling his kid was, it's okay if you end up in Slytherin, I still love you. Like, hell, I was almost in Slytherin. I'm the one who told him not to. So it was like, it's okay if you end up in a different house. You're still loved. You still got a home to come to. And then you see him look at Malfoy across the way, and then like they're nodding to each other. So it's kind of like we have to understand, like we're not friends, but we don't have any animosity either.
Yeah, we are officially just on some even grounding. Yeah. And we're just going to call it neutral.
Yeah, it was dumb. We were kids. And at the time, as kids do, we just try to follow in the footsteps of our parents because we thought that was the best thing to do. And again, you saw the light come on in Draco's head. It was like, oh, no, this is not, I don't want to do this, but I'm too far in now. Like, the dude literally is in my house. He's taken over my home. Like, I can't do anything. Mm-hmm. And so, and you saw the redemption in that. And that's why I think...
He knew he had gotten in too deep.
Plus, at that point, it was also like, if I don't do this, then my family, he's going to kill my mom and dad. So it's like, I'm genuinely stuck. Yeah. So the fact that the mom at the very end betrayed them in a sense, because when Harry was died and she went over to test if he was alive, and she asked about her son, he goes, he's alive. She goes, he's dead. So right then and there, she was like, I'm risking this to see if, because you are our only hope. You are literally our only hope to defeat him, to get us away from him. Mm-hmm. And so the mom right then had already defected. I don't really know if Lucius Malfoy defected, really. I think he was at that point, he was just stuck.
He was in so deep from the start. Like, he had already been involved with everything by the time he was introduced in the second movie.
Yeah, well, they were all technically Death Eaters, but since their lord was gone, it was kind of just like, we can't really say nothing. But what I'm saying is, with the mom, I'm not even going to try to say her name. It's Narcia, something like that.
Narcissia.
Closer. With her, it was kind of like, I'm married into this, so this is what I have, but my main goal is my kid. Is my kid okay?
Yep.
And when Harry was like, yeah, he's good, he's alive, and she was like, okay, bet. He's dead. He's dead. Do what you need to do, but something needs to be done. We can't
keep having this.
We can't. This can't go on. He cannot win. Because at the end of the day, Voldemort was a hypocrite because he's not even pure-blooded.
Nope, he was half-blood too.
Yeah, he was not even pure-blooded. He was a half-blood the whole time. But you wanted to be, you were a faker and a wannabe this entire time and hating on people that were Muggle-born. So here's my take on Muggle-borns. It was fine to be a Muggle-born, but at the same time, it kind of goes into one of those, like, don't take your non-magical beliefs and try to force it on magic people, like the wizards.
Yeah.
So it's like, if this is our norm, and this is a negative, bad thing that needs to be updated. If this is our norm, don't bring your negativity, your Muggle negativity, in here. But a lot of it was mostly the rich wizards. They needed to change their viewpoints because just because a person is not a pureblood wizard, hello, you had a lot of half-bloods that were phenomenal and wizards
honestly,
and witches.
More powerful.
Yeah, like you had a lot of half-bloods that were great in what they did. And then you had Muggleborns that came in the mix that were great at what they did. So that viewpoint needed to be changed. And I'm pretty sure that they did this just so we didn't see it. But my take is like they keep making more and more Harry Potter renditions, and I'm just like, you should stop. And I get it was with different people. Yeah. I watched the was it Magical Beasts or something? So it was basically like the prequel to Dumbledore and the guy that he fought.
That was known to be a complete and utter entire disaster. That's not even
the first one. The first one was good. The second one I didn't watch, but I think they're making another one. But it's like with Harry's parents.
I think they're up to 3, and the third one basically killed the franchise. Like I don't think they're even that touch it anymore.
But the Magical Beast thing?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know
because their main character wasn't even getting focused on.
I think the point of it was like the prequel to show us like what Dumbledore and them got going on. And plus it didn't help during the time Johnny Depp played the villain and he was going through the whole divorce thing. So that didn't help the situation.
And with the whole Johnny Depp thing now, he's all honestly been completely turned on by Hollywood at this point. He's also all turned off entirely from Hollywood at this point on his own right. So it's kind of a mutual going of separate ways.
Well, because it's like, F you take me out of something before you knew all the facts. Like, you sided with her and all the allegations without knowing all the facts first. And now you want to come back, kiss my ass. Which we can end it on this now.
Of course, it didn't help, though. Let's just say that also he was a known bad boy, a known drunk, a known, like, just abuser of drugs and stuff like that, to the point to where it made him very difficult to work with. So even knowing everything going on with the mistreatment from his ex-wife, but you
also can add that to that she also contributed to why he drank and did all that stuff too. So there's that too. We can always look at it that way. But I still like him as an actor. He will always be Jack Sparrow to me, and they need to stop making them. Don't make another one unless you put him back in it.
Oh, the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, don't make another one because that last one was absolute garbage. Oh. It was dog water. We jumped off topic, but I'm going to end it on here. It was garbage and dog water. It was absolutely, I was sitting in the theaters so mad watching that last one because I was like, what is happening here? And that's when we found out later on afterwards was, oh, he's going through some stress. He's stressed out. He's going through some things with his soon-to-be ex-wife.
And then we get the details, the gritty details.
Yeah, but it was absolute garbage. It wasn't good. I'm sorry if anyone enjoyed it. We went as a group, and we collectively as a group said it was bad. we collectively as a group said it was bad.
Constructive with our criticism as a group of, I think it was 4 or 5 of us who all went together.
It was me, you, Sam. No. Me, you, Megan, Dalton, and Sarah.
Yeah.
Was Sarah there? Yeah, Sarah.
I think so. It
was like 5 of us there, and collectively...
We all were just like, well, that was an experience.
And it wasn't just us. People coming out of the theater with us was saying, like, strangers were saying to us, like, oh, that was something. Yeah, it was something. Something is the word you could say for it. And it was around the time, was it Wonder Woman? Was it Wonder Woman?
Right.
Yeah, because it was. Because I saw some people dressed up as Wonder Woman. This one lady had like a Wonder Woman shirt.
And we said to ourselves, we should have just gone to Wonder Woman.
We should have went and watched Wonder Woman. Yep, exactly. We said we should have just gone and watched Wonder Woman instead of watching this nonsense over here. Which I did go watch Wonder Woman later, but that we should have went and saw that first.
We really should have.
Because I was so upset.
The last time we went as a collective group to go see it, and I think we were still.
Was that before COVID? Because COVID killed everything.
That was when we were still in college.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It was when we were still in college. That's how old that movie is at this point.
Yeah. So it's been a minute, but we said we should go see Wonder Woman instead of going and spending our money on this trap because it was horrible. It was so predictable. It was predictable too.
Well, the 5th one on its own was not good.
Which one was the 5th one?
It's the one
with the mermaid.
Yeah.
You know what? It's so
Penelope Cruz came in. Penelope Cruz is a fine actress.
She
was not right for that role. But then that whole movie wasn't good.
No, the ending for me, I'm still trying to figure out. I like the song. I like old sea shanties anyway, but I do. They just I don't know. They just I don't know. I like them. Some of them. But I don't know the mermaid situation. Did did she kill him or did she not? Because at the end, you saw the last time you see them is she's swimming away with him. Did she kill him or did I needed answers. I don't like open endings.
That's because that never got touched on again there.
Ever. It did not get touched on at all. Like that was literally the end you saw them. It was
literally just like a one and done of its own.
Like it was a story within a story.
Movie.
It was a story within a story. Like you had everything going on her trying to find the elixir of life cup, and then you had the mermaid that was. You needed her to cry, but mermaids are tough, so they don't cry because they're used to being abused, which is sad. But they're used to being abused, so therefore they're not going to cry for that shit. So what can you do to get them to cry?
Literally beat the shit out of her?
No, be kind. It was literally be nice to them and, not be a shitty person to them. And so she started liking that guy because of that. And so that's what got her to tear up. So them torturing her other people, that didn't do shit to her because she was just like, y'all are shitty people anyway. We know y'all do this, so we're not going to cry for that. It was when they turned on the guy, the pirate dude that was always with them and kinder and like that is when they got a tear out of her because they needed her to cry for something. Yeah. And so I don't know if that was a key to something, but they needed her a tear from a mermaid. And so that's why they captured all of it.
Add it to the elixir of life to actually be able to grant the life.
Okay. So there was a reason for it. So you couldn't be mean to them. You could beat them. You could do whatever you wanted to and torture them. You weren't getting a tear out of the mer people but by showing kindness and taking something else from them, that's how they got the tear from that one girl. And of course he was dying because like I said, they were trying to do whatever they could to get her to give a tear. And so it's like, okay, did he die? Did he live? What happened? Because once they did that, they literally just dumped him and went on to get the cup. And then when they came back, you saw her swimming, like she grabbed him and pulled him and then swam away with him. Okay, did that mean you killed him?
I don't know.
So if anyone knows.
However, though, really.
We're still in the realm of magic.
We're in the realm of something. Fantasy.
Yeah.
We're in the fantasy realm.
That's
magic is long gone at this point. Now we're into just fantasy, which is fine. I love me some good fantasy.
Johnny Depp was a wizard, so therefore it's still stuck with what we were talking about.
I swear I don't remember him in the movie, but I don't.
He wasn't in Harry Potter. He was in the Fantastical Beasts.
Yeah, I didn't watch Fantastical Beasts because I didn't give a flying crap about those.
But I'm saying it was still in the Harry Potter realm, so we're okay.
Okay, as long as we haven't gone too far off on our tangents. Tangents. We got them. We love them. We're going to continue to go on them.
We got them by the pound.
And God help us all because we are going to go to 12 different subjects before everything's done. Although at this given point in time, I think we're good.
Yeah. I think we kind of got our point across. We've been to what we wanted to.
It's a mess. We enjoy it. It's a fun mess.
Well, sometimes. Anyway, be sure to like and subscribe and catch us on the next video. Hit that notification bell. When we post, we were trying to do twice a week or twice every other week. So we're trying to get better at that.
Editing, so it's going to come out when we get it out there.
Yeah, hopefully not forever. And we'll see you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.